welcome to the closing beat, everybody. Happy Wednesday. How you doing out there? Oh, I can feel it. I'm gonna mess something up today. Hope you're having a good day out there. This is a quick show that we do to cover the stock market for the day. A little end of the day wrap. We call it the closing beat. We do it for our customers as well as those of you that want to follow along. We do weekly classes for our customers, and tomorrow the class is on the Secure Act. We're going to cover all the details of that, strip out all the garbage and things that don't matter to you, and go over all the details so you know what's going on with your dough in terms of the Secure Act. Every Thursday night we do a class. Actually, you can see them on our website. If you go to the events tab, jazzwealth.com, you go to the events tab, you can actually see the next 3 classes. We're doing the Secure Act, we're doing the backdoor Roth IRA, how that works, in particular with your accounts here. And then we're going to get back into Nest Egg. That's the financial planning software we give to every one of our customers that wants it, where we give them full access as if they're a financial planner as well, so we can work together on a plan rather than just having someone throw something together and, you got to trust that they got it right. I find that interaction works a lot better. So I hope you'll check us out. If you have old IRAs, or maybe you're working with an advisor that's just not keeping in touch with you, not teaching you, not helping along the way. We're real big on education here with our weekly emails and classes and such. Maybe you'll keep us in mind. So I hope you'll check us out at jazzwealth.com. We're also playing a game. It's called Guess the Dow. Every week we'll give away $100. That's the most we're legally allowed to give away at any one point. Otherwise, we would do more. But it's a $100 gift card if you're not one of our customers, or a $100 credit to your account if you'd like. If you can tell me where the Dow is going to close, if you're the closest without going over. Every Friday we announce the winner on our show here. And so 2 more days. We'll see who gets it right this week. Record number of guesses, by the way. So there's a lot of competition out there, and I like to see my customers out there guessing as well. Anyways, let's dive into it today. You got the Dow higher by 161 by the end of the day. 15 on the S&P, the NASDAQ higher by 60 points. For the day, you've got a strong, not a strong recovery off the overnight lows. I want to show you something here in a second in regards to that. But basically, look, missile attacks overnight, everybody panicked, and then by the morning, it's like nothing happened. It's not even that big of a deal. Everybody just assumed it was something, well, they had to retaliate the way that they did just to kind of show their people that everything was cool. I'll stay out of the politics. But by the morning, the markets have basically recovered all the way back into positive territory. We put the Iran issue behind us, it seems. President Trump came out, gave his comments about that, saying, no, we'll work on some sanctions, but we're going to fight back economically. We are not going to work on any military response at the moment. That brought oil all the way back down from highs. Huge range overnight in oil, plus 4% higher, minus 4% lower. Big range there. And then, of course, Boeing was in the news. Minor headline there, but a big event. 737 crash in Iran just a couple minutes after takeoff there. So it sounds a lot like the previous crash there. So you saw a little pressure from Boeing. That's basically the headlines today. You also had ADP numbers come out. Stronger jobs added, 202,000 versus like 178 or something expected. So that was a little underlying support in the markets. Let's talk about the S&P 500 here, because depending on how you look at it, you could look at it using an ETF, and you could say, oh, okay, well, look, turns out, we look back in history, you go, oh, it looks like Iran shooting missiles at us doesn't really affect the markets. That was a good day. However, if you look at the futures market, and I might attempt something here that could be a big mistake, but let's see. If you look at the futures market, you got this big old tail down here. What's going on with that tail? If you have no idea what a tail is and you're one of our customers, go in the dojo, in the video library, search candlesticks. There are 3 classes in there to teach you what all this nonsense means. Bottom line is that's real. That is not what we usually call a bad tick. For example, yesterday, Apple had a bad tick where the platforms just kind of freaked out for a second, but they cleaned themselves up. Anyways, this is for real. I want to do something if I can. I'm going to go to an hourly chart so we don't have to stare at a bunch of stuff. I'm then going to go into my little settings here. I will highlight. Let's see if that does it. Yeah, okay. What we've done now is in the background, the gray shaded area is overnight. The white area is the normal market hours, 9:30 to 4 p.m. Eastern time. What I've been wanting to show you is, well, last night, the S&P fell over 50 points, 55 points. That's all this here. This is last night, this big plummet to the downside there. The Dow fell over 450 points, all happened after hours. If you notice the pattern, the past couple days I've been saying, well, overnight there was a big range. During the day, not so much. Well, if you look at this here and you go through, last night we had 55 points to the downside. And then if you take from like the low to the high today, you got 29 points. more activity in the after hours. If you take the yesterday's low to the high, you've got 11 points there. If you go yesterday after hours from low to high or high to low, you got 22 points, more action overnight. The day before that's the only time where the stock market so far this year has had a bigger move during the day than it did overnight. All the action's happening overnight. It's kind of interesting, huh? All I'm trying to illustrate here is the volatility in the stock market very much waking back up in all aspects of trading, not just throughout the trading day. So it's been quite an active move there. I just wanted to share that with you because that is more than likely going to continue. We'll see what happens. But S&P 500 sitting around highs. We did poke to new record highs. We didn't close up there. I believe the NASDAQ did close. Yep, NASDAQ closed at record highs. What else is new? Tech stocks continue to push the markets higher. And the Dow didn't quite get to new highs for the day, but still way off of its lows. One other interesting thing, right towards the end of the day, go here to like a 5-minute chart. Right towards the end of the day, we did start to sell off. So if we use like the diamonds, about 15 minutes before the end of the day, the stock market did give back most of the or the after Trump comments there when he gave his press conference, about 11:30 Eastern time today. The S&P did the same thing, a little sell-off at the end of the day, so a little glimmer of hope for you bears out there. But I got to tell you, if you're looking at this low that the market put in the futures market overnight last night, that's a low that people are going to defend pretty hard. So you kind of just set the low for the market there, at least in the ultra short term for technical traders. Anyways, that's what we have to share about that. Let's go over to your sector breakdown here today and talk about the different sectors. The banking stocks reverse course today. Now, almost everything I'm going to mention today as we comment on it is X the last 15 minutes. The last 15 minutes of almost everything out there saw a bit of a pullback there. So here's the last 15 minutes of the day. Just that one candlestick right there showing you how a lot of this stuff pulled back right at the end of the day. So maybe it's a hint going into tomorrow. Maybe it's just some profit taking. We'll see. But financials, reverse course today. They were strong with your semiconductors. Remember, you need tech and you need the banks to have a strong day in the market. You just can't have a really strong day in the market without both of those two playing together. You can't even really have a strong day in the market if tech stocks are really strong and financials are slightly negative. It just can't happen given the weighting in the S&P 500. We've done a class on that in the past. Probably should update that one, actually. It's been about a year. Anyways, both of those hanging in there. So like I mentioned, the financials doing well today. The names from yesterday reverse course. I'm going to try to include some stocks in here when I talk about these sectors. See how you guys like that. JP Morgan, which was downgraded yesterday by UBS, reverse course a little bit today. I believe Bank of America was the other one. Good support there in the overall market, the sector, and Goldman Sachs hitting new highs today as well. Very helpful for the banking stocks there in general. American Express made the news too. It did poke back up to these highs. Look at this series of equal highs. You got to just know people love playing with technical analysis, and this is another great example. Why did American Express stop at that price today? It's because that's where it stopped all other days. Everybody said, that's good. I don't want to guess that it's going over this high. It hit the high. They're happy with that. So American Express back in there. The news was that they filed to be in China. They want to go expand over into China, so they made that filing. Obviously, it's a good thing. We don't know if they got it yet, but it's a good thing if they do. All right, you got home builders a little bit higher on the day, except for the last 15 minutes. They pulled back just a little bit. That's in response to Lennar's earnings. Lennar had earnings that came out today, looked really good. They beat on earnings by a quarter. Nope, 24 cents. Revenues came in better than expected. New orders up 23%. And when I say new orders, I mean both in terms of dollar volume, the new orders, and units as well. So really good earnings report for them. That helped the home builders. So if you're looking at like the XHB, that's the home building ETF. More directly would be the ITB. That is exclusively home builders without like Home Depot and Sherwin-Williams and things. So a decent day there. We go over to tech. They were higher today. Like I said, what else is new? Everybody's chasing the tech stocks there today. I did note that Apple and Microsoft, which make up about 40% of the tech sector, Apple did pull back a little towards the end of the day. Not a big deal. And Microsoft pulled back a little bit as well. But otherwise, those two obviously had good days today. Very strong there. Let's go over to consumer staples real quick. Bouncing off the 50-day moving average. Same thing. Little give back there at the end of the day. But basically bouncing off the 50-day moving average there. couple notable names in the area there was Colgate-Palmolive. I didn't really see much news here, but the stock was higher by 2.5% on the day. And Altria, these guys make cigarettes. They were the next best performer in that category. Interestingly, Altria, the dividend yield on Altria, 6.78%. So that would be, out of the cigarette producers, that would be the highest yielding dividend stock at the moment. You'd have to look to British Tobacco, I believe. They're at 6.04%, so a decent yield there. And Philip Morris is at 5.72%. They had a good day as well. But I thought that was interesting. Altria now yielding nearly 7%, so looking good. Transports were higher on the day. That was your rails. Remember yesterday we talked about the potential of a breakout there in Kansas City Southern. Today, getting that tailwind that it needed with the stock market moving higher. Kansas City Southern, nice breakout there, looking good overall. But the rest of the rails were with them as well. Norfolk Southern, about 0.5% on the day. If it weren't for the last 15 minutes, it would have been a little bit better. Union Pacific up about 1% on the day as well. Those three make up about 30% of the transports, so looking pretty good there. And FedEx, by the way, decent rally there, 1.5%. I know it's beaten down. It's sort of out of favor at the moment, but pretty good. And then the airlines, if I could point out real quick, airlines were higher on the day because oil just fell apart there. So you got Delta Airlines, 2% gain on the day. American Airlines just over 2% there. So let's move on to oil to show you that because that's just so impressive. Look at the range on oil. So this is the futures market, so it's going to include overnight and as well as the normal trading hours. Oil closes at 3:30 Eastern time, so it doesn't actually close officially for electronic trading at 4 like the markets do. I'm sorry, 2:30. Anyways, so you've got, here's the range. Shot up over 4% overnight on those missile strikes and then just started giving it back. The more we started reading into this, seeing what was going on, realizing, hey, this sort of seems like a setup, right? Like we took out their top guy. They're like, hey, U.S., we have to do something. You know, we can't just let this go by. We're going to shoot a few rockets. While we have the capability to actually take out the U.S. base if we want to, we're just going to take out like the laundry room or something. So don't worry about it. It's going to be fine. Well, as people started to realize that, oil fell all the way back down. You guys know that oil was a bit extended there. So you've got a sort of a double whammy working for you overnight. It's moving all the way back to the bottom of the range. Now, that's where you'd expect to find support for the oil stocks or oil in general. You also had the crude oil inventory numbers come out with a surplus of 1.2 million barrels. 1.3, I can't remember the number, but somewhere right in there was a surplus. So that did weigh on the price of oil there as well. You just know it's extended in the short term there. That did hurt other of the oil ETFs, your XOP, after a great run there over the last couple of weeks there. XOP pulling back a little bit. There you go. OIH also pulling back. Remember, that's been struggling with the 200-day moving average. And so the action in oil was basically the focus all night. Because remember, you can't have too high oil prices here in the States if you want this economy to keep rolling. Everything's good right now, but oil prices start creeping up. You know, that starts hitting the wallets of people. They start scaling back. So oil is why that's why we talk about oil so much, because it's such a sensitive economic commodity. Anyways, gold pulling back, lost 1% on the day. That ends its streak. 10 straight days higher there. We talked about gold earlier. It did spike on the missile announcement as well, but closed lower on the day as basically everything turned out to be okay. Or as Trump said, Iran's backing down. I don't know how shooting missiles at somebody shows you they're backing down, but I guess the tweet that says we're not looking for war, we're looking for retaliation from Iran, maybe that's that. I don't pretend to understand that. Boeing was a little bit lower on the day. I mentioned this already. 737 crashed right about the same time the missile strikes hit. We found out of Tehran there was a 737 took off just a couple minutes later, crash, killed everybody on board. Sad story, going to hurt Boeing on the day there. There's not enough data to be able to say exactly what happened at this point, but the stock was a little bit lower on the day. So that's all you have for Boeing. I saw this on Bloomberg. Grubhub. Oh, yeah. Grubhub finished higher on the day. They're looking at possibly selling themselves. So Grubhub, this was like an intraday spike. This didn't start the day like this. It was just kind of doing its thing, and then that news came out, caused a little bit of a spike. If you own it, that's pretty cool. Walgreens, Boots Alliance. We talked about this coiling up yesterday, getting positioned for itself, really in a good position to try to pop today. but you got to beat your earnings, and Walgreens didn't do that. They missed on earnings. Revenues were as expected. Guidance, they left the same. They said they weren't going to lower guidance. They were just going to leave it the same, even though this wasn't a good earnings report for them. They were going to leave it the same, so maybe a glimmer of hope there for them. It's one of your dogs of the Dow stocks, and, well, that's part of the risk you take when you're playing with the dogs of the Dow. Luckin Coffee. I know some of you like this. Where's Eric, man? Eric likes his Luckin Coffee. Up 12% on the day. Great spike for Luckin Coffee. This is just one of those coffee shops that's on fire. Over 4,500 stores in China. Starbucks, I believe from our last report, they had like 4,100, something like that. So Luckin just trying to take over the world, or take over China, we should say. And another way they're going to do that is by launching these smart vending machines that makes coffee for you that supposedly tastes just as good as if you go in the store. So they're raising a little bit of money from that. They're offering, I think, a total of 7.2 million shares they're going to be selling. Should raise about a half a billion dollars for them. So Luckin Coffee looking a little good today. Almost back to highs. That's a great day. Apple back to highs as well. What else is new, man? It's like, I feel like Groundhog Day is coming up too. I feel like that, man. Just every day I'm saying Apple hit new highs, Apple hit new highs. They reported that on January 1st alone, just on January 1st, $368 million was spent in their store, in the App Store. That's pretty intense, man. That's up 20% from the January of last year. Just January 1. Grief, man. So anyways, the focus on Apple is on services. Services makes up like 22-25% of their business. People want to see that move higher, right? You can only sell so many physical devices, so they're hoping to make up more money in the services division. That's really good news if you're one of those that likes to follow the growth in services there, so looking good. Alibaba had a little bit of a gain on the day, gave it back towards the end of the day. Reuters reported that they were competing with Amazon by undercutting the fees for selling on Alibaba's platform versus selling on Amazon. I don't know how that's going. I just saw that report and I thought, look at that. Even the biggest companies that we have here in the States, they have competition. So if you have a small business out there and you're like, man, there's too much competition from Amazon or whoever it may be, even the big guys have competition out there. It is brutal. Lastly, we'll do Constellation Brands. Great day for this one today. Thankfully, we own this one, so we didn't like to see what happened yesterday. It reversed all of it today and then some. The stock reported earnings that beat on earnings. They did good. They beat by 30 cents. Great revenues there. All look good. Raised guidance going forward. And so the stock got a much-needed reversal there. That's what I have, I think, for your stock update there. You had an analyst come out and say that the Disney Plus was going to have very little impact on Netflix, so I believe you saw a little spike on that from Netflix. What was that about? It's not loading. We'll spike on that from Netflix. Yeah, new highs here in the short term. Getting back into that kind of gray area. We'll call it the gap area. No man's land in here, right? So you look for overhead, any kind of resistance. Next spot's like 361. So that's good news if you happen to own that one. And Yeti has a partnership with Lowe's. They had some analysts come out and say that was good news for them. I would expect that to be good news. 73% of the S&P 500 was above the 50-day moving average today. Finally, we got a bounce in that. That number's been deteriorating every day. It was at 69-point-something% yesterday. We bounced up 73% today. That's good news there if you happen to be paying attention to that little internal metric. 62 new 52-week highs today. Let's take a look at these real quick because you had 7 sectors that represented these new highs today. There were 40 stocks out of the 62 that were positive, right? Before the end, that were positive by 1% or more. Sorry, that's what I was trying to say. You had 40 of them out of the 62 that were positive by 1% or more 15 minutes before the close. At the close, there were only 25, so just gives you an idea of even the strong stocks out there today took a little bit of a hit there at the end. Some of your leaders were Vertex Pharmaceutical, very strong move there, 3.25% on the day. Humana hit new 52-week highs. Some of that's going to be because of UNH in healthcare. UNH got a 2% bump on the day. Bernstein put a $366 price target on it, so very positive on that one. Fortune Brands. There you go. Fortune Brands, this is a tiny little breakout there. I like pointing these out. In strong markets, I like to point out breakouts. In weak markets, I like to point out breakdowns, just to share that with you. So that's why we talked about Kansas City Southern yesterday. You already got the momentum going for you. When you get a good day in the market, that kind of helps that. So that's pretty much it with that one. I do see after hours here, Bed Bath and Beyond missing on earnings, not looking good. That one's actually kind of tanking at the moment. $14.50. That's what, 13% somewhere. So a bad move here for earnings on Bed Bath & Beyond. They are not going to reveal their strategic plans as expected. They're going to reveal those, well, they're saying early 2020. So not the guidance, not the forward expectations of everything that we were looking for from them with their new leadership. Pretty big disappointment there from Bed Bath & Beyond. Okay, what else do we have? Hey, we have 4 Fed members going out and speaking tomorrow. Isn't that a coincidence? When all of a sudden things look a little shaky, Fed goes out there, that their comments are going to be like, we got this. We have plenty of bullets left in the chamber. We're comfortable with where everything's at. All the comments, you got 4 Fed members speaking tomorrow. That is no coincidence, by the way. That has everything to do with what's been going on over the last couple days. All right, you got ex-dividend here, payouts from Landstar, $2, Buckle, $1.25, Darden Restaurants, 88 cents, Verizon, 62 cents, Intuit, which was pretty strong today, up 53 cents, AT&T, 52 cents, General Mills, 49 cents. That'll take care of that. Let me see if I can answer some of your questions. I'll do the best I can, I promise. If you have any questions, and we'll go from there. Let me see real quick, because I know that question's going to come up if it hasn't. Costco. I was trying to find it. Costco up 1.15% on the day. Store sales, their numbers came out today. I was just trying to find it real quick. I should up 9%. Good for them. Sales rise 11% to $17 billion for Costco. So that's understandable why their day today was quite positive. I love it. Spencer says, where do you get your crude oil reports? From the EIA. You can look them up. It's public. You can actually have most platforms just spit the report out to you in a real summary type format. But that's from the EIA. Comes out every Wednesday unless Monday is a holiday, and then it comes out on Thursday. EIA will also put out natural gas, comes out tomorrow. We haven't really focused on natural gas much, but that's it. Yep. Oh, sorry. So I can only see like 5, maybe 7 questions at a time. So sorry if I grab a question and it bounces off the screen, hit it again. You're not very positive on the piece. Will the pullback begin after Trump gets out of office and all his partners sell? That's one sort of way to look at it. I mean, come on. I mean, nothing will, but I was sort of frustrated today. I'll be honest with you. I saw the market selling off last night and I was kind of like, all right, we got it. Here we go, right? Wake up this morning and I'm looking at my phone like, is it green? How did that happen? I was up late too. But yeah, I'm with you, man. There's just, what's going to take this thing down? Yeah. What do you think about L3? What's the question there? Anything in particular? I can't pull it up under the new symbol for some reason. What happened? It's going to start trading. Why doesn't it come up as this one? For some reason, my platform maybe hasn't updated just yet. I'm sorry. I can't actually even pull that one up. The new ticker's not in there. Do you happen to have the new ticker? Let me see if maybe it's just fallen under something else. What do you think of Nokia for a 5G play? Can you do better? I mean, does it have to be Nokia? Are you just dead set on that one? Have you looked around a little bit just to kind of see the players in the space there? I wouldn't get too excited about Nokia. I get it. It's discounted and everything, but maybe you know something more than I do. I don't see that. I also don't see 5G just one day it's here, right? This is a long process. If 5G is just not going to just poof out of nowhere, this is going to be years, by the way. So don't think you're going to miss something. You got to be like all in on something right away. Tesla, I saw that, man. Tesla, I got a text from a friend today. Did you short Tesla? Because it hit $500 a share. And I said, like a year ago or something, I'm like, if it ever popped up there, I would short the stock. And he texted me. I didn't happen to catch it during the day or see it. But yeah, it hit $500 a share. I believe, let's see, almost perfectly. 498.49 was the high. That's super extended. Like I said, that's a 5% jump today. You've reached the point where if you want to play it, I would rather miss out on the 5% and wait for it to pull back than to try to chase it. You can't chase stocks like that. Come on. As far as how the Boeing crash affects the stock, well, today is obviously self-explanatory, but there's just not enough data. There's not enough information there, so we'll have to see. If it was just maybe maintenance issues or something like that, which Boeing is probably hoping for, then it's not such a big deal. We'll see. Last thing they need is some other defect or something. Wow, okay. Backdoor Roth capped at 6,000. So if you're talking about doing that contribution, that transaction, that's how you would do it. Anything else could be converted if you wanted to, but as far as recharacterizations, here you got it. Same with like accidental deposits as well. If you found that you earned too much to contribute to a Roth, things like that, you have until October actually. If I understood you right. If I didn't, help me out a little bit. How high is Tesla going in 2020? I can't say. I mean, obviously, I would just be guessing anyways. But in the short term here, you gotta imagine this thing running out of steam. Who can justify paying that for the stock unless you're a retail investor, right? No fund manager out there can justify starting a new position in Tesla with any significant amount of money at these prices. They'd be fired right away. So you got to imagine the steam is about to run out. Not saying it's going to crash. I'm just saying it's got to stop. Take a break for a while. You hate to see when your stock that you're holding goes up that fast. It's never a good thing. We'll watch it though. I mean, we'll keep playing with it. I like looking at this stuff. Can you do a longer video on the asset location? Best place to have various assets to avoid future tax implications. Yeah, I thought I'd test that out. See how that was received. Yeah, I mean, sure. Always looking for ideas there. It's reported that Warren Buffett was building a position in Boeing. We won't find out for a little bit here until the next filing, but could he be? Yeah, he likes discounts. He doesn't like to pay up for stuff. Remember, he had the chance to buy Tiffany. It was a bit of a bidding war there. He backed out of the bidding war. He's smart. He doesn't like to pay up for stuff. He didn't chase. A lot of great investors out there like that, but we'll see. We will see what happens. Thoughts going forward for Bristol Myers? Nothing but good news, I think, from their Celgene acquisition there. We had both positions, so it was a bit of an adjustment for us here. But I would see nothing but good things coming from it. I don't think they overpaid, I think that it was a great transition. No issues with me. Now, the stock price in the short term, right? It's had a good run. I mean, you could say this about a lot of things. I guess it doesn't matter, but had a good run in the short term. Healthcare's had a good run. You'd kind of expect more volatility here, especially with the elections coming up as well. So I don't think it's smooth sailing, and we just never look back from here. I do think you're going to see more volatility. So we'll see. Okay, perfect. Got it there. As an aggressive long-term investor, how much would you allocate to tech stocks? That's a rough question. I mean, that depends on, there's just so many things there, right? What type of account is it? If you're long-term investing, what is the rest of the portfolio made up of? Is it made up of snail stuff, like super duper slow conservative stuff, and this is your way of being aggressive, or is the rest of it all super aggressive? Too many things for me to answer in a general way there. Yep. Yeah, you could argue some of the short covering in Tesla there. Yeah, you could argue that. That is definitely something. What do you think about Uber stock? It's done well recently, right? It's done well here in the short term. Travis Kalanick's officially sold all his shares, so I believe that pressure is done. We'll see. I mean, I know there's questions about their Uber Eats, and maybe they shouldn't keep going with that. But other than that, I mean, from a just purely technical perspective, up off the lows a little bit. This is not the kind of stock that you just see reverse course and blast back off to $46, $47. There are a lot of people that have losses there. I mentioned this a lot. There are a lot of people that have losses. They're going to want to sell as this thing pops back up. So I think it's a sort of a herky-jerky kind of way higher if it continues. You usually watch me at two times the speed. I feel like I talk fast, so I can't even imagine watching myself at 2 times the speed. I feel like I'm just spitting stuff out, and I'm like leaving stuff out for you guys. I'm always like mindful of that, but that's crazy. 2 times the speed. I watch that too. There's a pilot that I like to watch, and it's like an hour-long video, so I watch it in 2 times the speed. I love it. I love it. Well, I think we'll have to wrap it up there. We've covered everything that I wanted to cover today. Got some of your questions there. If I missed it, I try not to miss you. Just ask me tomorrow or something. I'm appreciative that you guys watch. Thank you for being around here. We'll see what tonight has in store for us. Maybe the first calm night in a while, but now you know where all the action is there overnight. If it happens to be volatile, we'll cover it tomorrow. But thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk to you soon.
Hey, wait! Before you go watch one of our other great videos, have you had a chance to see our new Fin Tips videos? They focus on one topic at a time, covering investing, personal finance, and anything that can quickly help you with your dough. Best of all, we'll keep it real short, because we know time is money.
Why should you choose Jazz Wealth as your retirement or long-term investing service? Our portfolios are managed by us, not some faceless mutual fund manager. Our private classes will teach you everything about investing and getting your dough straight. Best of all, our fiduciary standard means your best interest comes before ours.